Yeah, this is Dave from cheapbooks.com playing World of Tanks. This tank is the Progetto 46. This is an Italian Tier 8 medium tank, and the map is Epic Normandy in the Frontline game mode. We're going to have a great game, and this is now my go-to tank. It used to be the Chrysler GF, but I really am falling in love with this tank. The only issue I have is that I've only got a base crew that has one crew skill. It's only got the first crew skill on it, so I'm really concerned about a lot of the features that are lacking. Now, we know that we got to snipe against these guys, so we're going up to a sniping location. I'm going to let the Panther 2 take the location right in front of me. I'm going to take up an alternate location so that we can cover that base and prevent the enemy from taking the base. Now, the reason why I like this tank, I'm probably going to knock the tree down. You want to have as much cover as possible. I absolutely use camo nets in the Frontline game mode. Remaining hidden is one of the keys to winning this game. It's going to be a little bit difficult to hit some of the targets from the location that I chose. But what's important is that I chose this location so that we're not all in the same place. Where the Panther is a great location, and where the Tiger 2 is a great location, where the IS-3 is a great location. This is more of a backup. There's another location which is really good, which is there's no coordinates in this game, which is in front of me, far in front of me. Maybe we'll see it in this game. So you can see I got my first 500 damage. Now, the reason why I like this tank is because it's an auto-loader, you could go and gang up on a tank, do a lot of damage really fast, and you could still defend yourself. Now, this is that alternate position I was telling you that I like to use. A little bit difficult. You got to have a little bit of horsepower in order to climb up here. But if you can make it here safely, you could do a lot of damage. Look at that. Oh, so sad. He's out of the game. Got 977 damage. It's going to be very hard for them to cap with the positions that we're taking up. So I'm going to sit here and I'm going to reload at least 2 rounds. And then while the third round is reloading, I'm going to start looking for targets. You don't want to wait until all 3 rounds are loaded. See, now you can see my third round is loaded. I'm going to go up to the red line here, but I'm not going to cross it. I can sit here for a long time. No one's going to spot me over here. Wait until your camouflage net turns on. Try not to move too much. You want to work with that camo net. It's been working like a charm. See, now we've got them pressed. And you want to fully aim. Reversing while I'm reloading. Go to the safe position. I got 1,400 damage in this game. I like to play with fast light tanks. And what I've been doing is I've been playing with all of my Tier 8 light tanks. And I'm having great games. And I'm doing a lot of sniping. Not doing a lot of scouting. But what I'm doing is I'm doing hit-and-run tactics. I'm chasing the enemy down, looking for isolated tanks, ganging up on tanks, resetting cap. I try to do what my allies are afraid to do. If my allies know how to do something, then I'm just going to support them and sit back. And I'm going to do the difficult parts that they don't know how to do yet. Nice shot. Okay, so we're going to be in the next game in 20 seconds. This is going to have an incredible ending. I'm very proud of the way that the game ended. I am going to get 7,800 damage in this game. Okay, so it looks like on Zone B, we're doing okay. We're probably going to lose Zone A, going in with a light tank. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to focus on keeping an eye out for resetting the cap. I'm going to look for targets that I can sneak up on. If I have to die resetting the cap, I'm going to die resetting the cap. I've come up with a technique. Let's see if I've tried it on this particular map. No, it works on Cap C. I have a technique for Cap C. So what I'm going to do is I'm probably going to drive right through the cap, do as much damage as I can. I'm up to 1,800 damage. Okay, so we got a tank, a defender that's on the cap that I can easily reset. It looks like we'll have defended the cap quite easily. Okay, so I knocked out that defender. I got 2,000 damage and 1,000 spotting damage. So you'll notice now that we're controlling this map.
Zone C has been lost. Attackers got extra time.
So it looks like A and C have fallen, but B has not fallen yet. I'm going back for repairs. In 30 seconds, I'm going to be able to drop an artillery strike. There's been many games where you die before you get to use your artillery strike. So what I do is I use my artillery strike as soon as it's available. Any consumable, any of the combat reserves, I use them immediately upon availability. You'll notice that there's a Scorpion G in Zone A who was last spotted across from me. So he's someone you got to keep an eye out for. And you never know what's going to happen going around this way. So now that the artillery is ready, I'm going to park ideally in a safe location. Find a place to drop it on. If there's nothing in your zone to drop it on, you can drop it in any zone you want to. So I dropped it on, I believe it was AMX 5100, was it? So this Tiger hit me, but I have an advantage, and that is if I increase the distance on him, I'm going to be able to spot him and snipe at him without him seeing at me. So what I'm doing is I'm trying to increase the distance. I did it a little bit more sloppily than I should have. But at some point, I'm going to be far enough away that he will not be able to see me. Wait for that camo net to come on. There it is. Let's see if I'm spotted. Wait for the camo net. There it is. I might have to go forward to spot him. Got to aim manually, hit that side track. $2,400 damage, 1,600 spotting damage. So they're about to cap us. I wasn't paying attention to how the cap was going. They're about to cap us. Let's see if we get a reset. We did get a reset. So hopefully I can go in and get another reset. Got 30 seconds to make it around there. Because there's a repair facility, I'm going to try to go through that repair facility. If I can, it will reload my ammo. Maybe it will give me a few additional hit points. But the priority has to be to reset the cap. Giving me the extra hit points is going to make it easier for me to reset the cap. I was able to gain perhaps 500 hit points just by sitting up the cap. Okay, so gotta hightail it out of here. So I have 45 seconds to leave the zone. However, I don't leave the zone as quickly as possible. What I do is I try to stay in the zone as much as possible, cause as much trouble as I can, and I leave the zone when there's like 5 seconds left. I'm not going to say that I do that for every game, but I frequently do that. So you can see I'm going to take some shots at these guys on my way out. Got 12 seconds. I was worried about this IS-3. Saw this IS-3 had crossed over the line, and I didn't know what to do. I wanted to tell him, you know, don't go over the line. But I think he's going to turn out safe. Or maybe he's going to get nailed. Yeah, it looks like he turned out safe. So I want to get into a sniping position. I got 2,700 damage, 1,600 spotting damage. You want to hit them right when they're on the repair cap. And they lose their ability to repair. And I'm not worried about taking damage, just cause trouble. You notice that it's safer to do the, look at the maneuver I'm doing right now. It's a lot safer for me to be in that position. And like I said, I'm not worried about taking damage. I want to reset whatever I can. Now it's time to get out of here. He's gonna take me out. Now, the reason why, obviously, I'm not worried about taking damage is because I'm going to return to my repair facility, which is in the north of the zone, and I'm going to repair my tank and get back into the game. Very easy to do if you have a fast tank. So that's why I use that strategy. Try to do as much damage as I can. You notice that I'm typing in chat that there's 10 allies and 15 enemy tanks in Zone E. So they have an excess of 5 tanks. They've got 50% more. I'm letting my team know, hoping that they'll spawn if possible. So you can see I decided to come out with the AMX CDA 105. This is an amazing tank. I have the STR VS1, but I prefer to play in the AMX CDA 105. And the reason why is because I don't have to deal with the mode to switch between siege mode and transit mode. This tank has a really good gun on it. It will do a lot of damage. It's going to penetrate where a lot of tanks failed to penetrate. I'm also typing in the chat. Look at how much of an imbalance we have. I'm typing in chat to remind my allies that we need tanks at Zone E. And I'm telling my allies they have an additional 7 tanks over us. And I'm probably going to wait for that camo net to come on before I fire. And then I'm going to unload. Now, they've got a lot of tanks heading north, so don't worry too much about finding them. They're going to come. At some point, they're going to come. Put them at the edge of my spotting range, wait for that camo net to come on, and then open fire. There's the camo net. It looks like, oh, they did spot me. That's not good. Stop the fire.
You have been promoted.
So I made a big mistake. I should have gone to the left to get the building between me and the enemy. But I will have my vengeance in this game. They have really overwhelmed us. Look at that. They're going to capture Zone E. When you're playing in a defensive position, speed is less important. And what's more important is having a strong gun or having strong armor, one of the two. Having strong armor is going to keep you in the game longer. Having a strong gun is going to penetrate more enemy tanks. So I decided to pull in the stronger armor, which is the Yag Tiger. And now we're going to see how much control I'm going to have in this game. You're going to see me dominate the enemy team. So the first thing I got to do is I'm going to make the slow climb up to Tower 3. The advantage of taking this position, not only am I going to defend Tower 3, the Objective 3, I'm going to make it difficult for the enemy to go after Objective 3. You're going to see that happen. You're going to see me control this roadway right here. But I can also keep an eye out on Objective 2 and possibly Objective 4. So I'm going to be able to monitor in all different directions. And I'm also notifying my allies that the enemy has 6 tanks more than we do in our zone. I press the tab key like this, and I count the number of tanks that they have extra. So we got to make the slow climb.
Attackers got extra time.
Look at the time. The attackers have 10.5 minutes to complete this game. That's absolutely amazing. It's a chance they might pull it off. But I know I'm going to give them a fight. You know, I've got 3,300 damage. I'm going to still pull in another 5,500 damage. The Scorpion's going to come up with me. But he doesn't have that strong armor that I have. And you're going to see me use this strong armor. You could call me the Plow. Basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this sniping area as long as I can. But once the enemy starts to threaten the hill, I'm going to prevent them from coming up this hill. You might wonder, where do you aim on the enemy tank? And the best place to aim is under the center of the turret. And the reason why is because it increases the chance you're going to hit the enemy tank. If you move it towards the back of the tank, you could shoot over the engine deck, miss the enemy. Okay, so watch what's going to happen here. First, okay, so I had a little crash with the game, so there might be some overlap. But watch how I defend against these tanks. I'm going to drop some artillery on them first. I'm going to assault these tanks. There's going to be 4 tanks, and I'm going to single-handedly deal with them. First, watch what I do, and then we'll talk about it afterwards. And pay attention to my driving, the way I angle the tank, etc.
Objective 4 under attack. You have been promoted.
Okay, so now we're going to do commentary. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to drop an artillery strike.
We have lost Zone E. Leave the sector as soon as possible.
And we're going to talk about how I do this. Okay, so the first thing I'm doing, there are 2 tanks coming up the hill. It takes 4 seconds to drop the artillery strike. So I'm going to drop it on the first tank, but it's probably going to hit the second tank, assuming that it's going to take 4 seconds for the second tank to reach the position of the artillery strike. What I probably should have done was move the artillery strike a little bit further up the road, but I made a mistake and I probably didn't do any damage. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to watch to see if they come running up the corner and if I can just do damage to them, if we're going to do the fight here or if we're going to do the fight where they are. If they don't come around, I'm going to keep on pushing because I'm the one with the strong frontal armor. And I know that the road ahead of us doesn't have a lot of room. There's more room for them if they had come up here, but they didn't. So it's to my advantage to push forward. We're going to have less room on this little road over here. So now we're going to prioritize all the tanks based on how many hit points they have. And I'm doing this with the auto aim because I have to prioritize driving my tank and angling it. The T-44FL in front of me, you're going to notice that he's going to be aiming at my tracks to try and halt me, and he is going to track me once or twice. You'll notice that I am angling my tank. Look at how the gun is at an angle. It's something that I do intentionally so that when he fires at my lower plate, he's actually hitting it at an angle, which gives me better armor protection. Now, I always ram while I'm driving. You shoot and ram. Sometimes you can do damage with a ram or get a kill with a ram before your ammo reloads. So you'll do it not only before your ammo reloads, but you'll do it before his ammo reloads. The other thing you'll notice is that I swiftly turn to the left to block the T-44. So now I have both tanks blocked. Neither of them can move forward, which prevents them from driving up the road. And I'm going to do it more than once. So I'm pushing him, but I'm also paying attention to what the other tank is doing. I thought for a second there that the other tank might be trying to come around the side of me, so I had to turn my tank to deal with him. So if he tries to pass me, I'm going to rush forward and try and block him or use some other driving maneuver. And that's why I have to use the auto-aim. I'm using the auto-aim because I'm going to be very heavily focused on the driving aspect of the game. You'll notice that I'm using the rear of my tank to block the T-44 on the left from passing me from behind. I didn't have to back up as much as I did, but by doing that, it definitely stops him. He's not going to be able to push his way through. The guy in front of me, he accidentally hit the stone construction piece, so he's not able to move forward anymore. Now we notice that the one on the right has less hit points. And I'm continuing to use the hull of my tank to block the T-44 so he can't pass me. So he shot my track. I got 2 repair kits. It's not a big deal. And I repaired and noticed that I angled my tank once again to block him so he cannot get behind me. And I'm firing at the tank that's further away, which is easier for me to aim at, and he has less hit points. And I'm doing ramming damage to the other tank.
Objective 4 under attack.
And you can see I'm still going in for the ram. I rammed him maybe 5 or 6 times already. I have to reverse in order for my shot to hit the lower part of his hull, otherwise it's going to hit his turret, and it might not penetrate. And I'm going to go forward while I'm reloading. You want to go forward while you're reloading so he can't hit the lower plate. It protects that lower plate, and then I'm going to reverse when I'm ready to fire. That was obviously a ricochet. Now we're going to go for this tank. The other T-44 ran away. We're going to go for the shoot and ram, and I'm going to probably kill him on a ram. And that's the maneuver. Okay, so let's continue watching the game. This is the point where it keeps on crashing. So we've got some tanks over here. My ally just drove by. He didn't realize that that Primo Victoria was a target. So he missed some chances. Got hit by the artillery. I think there's a good chance I'm going to get hit by another artillery. I'm really vulnerable right now. I could easily get taken out of the game by SPG. Luckily, one of the T-44s came back. Yeah. I believe the artillery did take me out of the game. At the time, I was actually surprised that the artillery took me out of the game. So I'm trying to decide what tank to take in next, and I'm looking at the Kananen Jagdpanzer. And the reason why is because it's got decent penetration, and it's fast and mobile, and it will allow me to move around the battlefield wherever I want to. So I'm thinking about a high penetrating gun, fast mobility, etc. I chose the AMX CDA 105. It's got a great gun on it. I like the mobility on it. I like the low profile of it. This is going to be a tough game because I'm going to be in the middle. There's going to be tanks all around me. Now, you notice what this Lorraine is doing. He's diving down after the SPG, and I want to go low and hit him also because it keeps me safe to be low. I could easily get hit from the rear. There's a lot of bad tanks out there. Yeah, you can see like there was that shot. Now there's also a rock over here. You want to take advantage of that rock for defense. And keep in mind, I am worried about being hit from the rear. By taking up this position, ideally what I should do is reverse a little bit to prevent all those tanks over here. The tanks over here, the prototype and the STRV can hit me, but these other two tanks like the Mauerbrecher can. So I'm not really in the best position. I should really reverse. Yeah, I knew I wouldn't penetrate that guy.
We have lost objective 4. Save the last one.
I do use the APCR a little bit more often in this game than I do with regular World of Tanks. It's too bad that that missed. Now, obviously, the Scorpion on the left there is a high-profile target. Want to take him out of the game. He's not going to do a good enough job hiding. Will I get him? No. It's sad. That was a sad miss. I should have had that guy. If this guy's going to come up after me, I'm going to be more than happy to take him out of the game. I'm up to 6,700 damage, 3,700 block by armor, 2,600 spotting damage. Now for the Mauerbrecher, using the APCR is a good idea. Picking up this location, I'm hoping that I'm not going to be spotted, but obviously I will be. I was taken out of the game, but basically I was using my gun elevation instead of gun depression. Most people are overly focused with gun depression, and they forget that you can use gun elevation. What I was going to do is use gun elevation in order to get my gun into a better position. So it looks like I'm ready to queue up a T-92, which is a fast light tank.
Our general has entered the field. Ready for deployment.
Oh, it looks like I took out the Progetto 46. This is a great tank because while you're looking to assault somebody, you're secretly reloading and going in. Once I get there, I'm going to have a lot of ammo loaded. You notice I'm trying to use that house to block the STRV from being able to shoot at me. Went a little bit too far. I think he's going to be dead by the time I get there. But I do want to help out my ally. I'm not going there to steal a kill. I'm doing there to get the job done. It looks like we're safe at number 3, but I think we're going to lose on objective 1. And the sad part is that objective 1, most of the damage was taken out by a single tank who was just there by himself. And I've seen it happen a few times, and I've obviously done it a few times. But sadly, we lost this game. I ended up with, I believe it was 7,800 damage, 3,700 block by armor, 2,600 spotting damage.